Three, 2, 1. That's it.
Barnaby Joyce is doing what he does best. The Deputy Prime Minister is in his element, away from the big smoke.
We fight for regional people. We fight for regional people.
He's had plenty to sell on the hustings, more than $20 billion of projects such as inland rail, dams and roads, much of it earmarked for electorates across northern Australia.
And I'm incredibly honoured to be given the opportunity to represent New England.
The big infrastructure spend was a trade-off for his party backing the Prime Minister's net zero by 2050 target.
I'm making sure that we get the best deal for regional Australia, whether it's net zero or anything else.
The climate target is a policy Barnaby Joyce told his party room at the time he didn't personally support. Clearly, some in its ranks still don't.
Zero net carbon emissions by 2050, Morrison's document, is a flexible plan. It leaves us wiggle room as we proceed into the future.
Yeah, well, the net zero thing is all sort of dead anyway.
Some Nationals MPs publicly ridiculed such comments.
I'm afraid that Matt Canavan is becoming like that Japanese intelligence officer Onoda who refused to accept that World War II was over and hid in the Philippine jungle for 30 years.
Highlighting fractures within the party room.
I think what you see with the National Party is really a loose coalition of independents. We have a whole bunch of people from right across regional Australia representing quite diverse communities, all thrown together in the one room.
His name is Darren.
Thanks, Mum. I'm Darren Chester and I get stuff done.
Victorian Nationals MP Darren Chester was dumped from the Nationals front bench after Barnaby Joyce returned to the leadership. He says the party must appeal to a broader constituency.
In my electorate of Gippsland, I absolutely represent farmers, but I actually represent more nurses than farmers. The health sector is such an important part of my community. The education sector is an important part of the community.
Barnaby Joyce maintains the Nationals stand for more than farmers and miners, but makes no apologies for highlighting the importance of primary industries that underpin the economy.
Without that, all the other things that people want, the NDIS, their social security, the pensions, health, education, you can't pay for it. So what we stand for is the reality of how the Australian economy works.
Get set.
But the man described by some as the nation's most effective retail politician is not front and centre of the campaign in the Victorian seat of Nichols, which the Nationals are fighting to keep.
Why haven't you got Barnaby Joyce in your promotional material?
Some people seem to make a big deal about that. I mean, it's just the Victorian Nats team. I don't think it's a big deal.
Barnaby Joyce has visited Nichols 3 times during the campaign. Here, former agronomist Sam Birrell is running for the Nationals after the retirement of sitting MP Damien Drum.
To be honest, you've got to live in a community for 30 years and don't be an arsehole to people.
He says the region needs a strong economy and wants assurances that farmers won't lose access to more water from the Murray-Darling Basin.
I believe in a coalition government, but if it's all Liberals, I don't think the regions get the focus that they deserve.
Back in 2016, Damien Drum won the seat back from the Liberals. It was a huge win for the party and then leader Barnaby Joyce, bolstering the Nats' numbers and influence in Canberra. But there's tougher competition this time around. Not only are the Liberals running, there's an independent attracting plenty of attention.
Yeah, it's definitely on. It's just going to come down to the preferences.
Independent candidate Rob Priestley owns and runs a commercial laundry at Shepparton.
Other than running for council a year and a bit ago, I've never been involved or particularly interested in politics. I've run my business and been involved in community ventures, and this is just out of frustration.
His business, which employs more than 300 people, relies on access to affordable energy. He says much of the frustration that's led him to run boiled over when the Nationals were bickering over the coalition's climate policy.
The message on climate change for this region is that there's huge opportunity here. They've spent their time focusing on how to preserve coal instead of looking at the opportunities for bioenergy, linking our great agricultural sector in this region with the net zero emissions energy opportunity. It generates more jobs, it generates baseload power, and we're just not talking about it.
Rob Priestley is keen to set himself apart from the so-called teal independents and says he's rejected donations from the Climate 200 group.
I think it's really important that the electorate have got trust that my motives are completely aligned with those of the electorate.
He declined to say who he'd support in the event of a hung parliament.
I'm Steve Brooks, Liberal candidate for Nichols.
While the independent must set himself apart from the coalition, Liberals hopeful Steve Brooks must set himself apart within it.
In this seat, for example, we had a Liberal member here for 20 years in Sharman Stone, so people here support a good Liberal member.
But a vote for you is essentially a vote for Barnaby Joyce.
No, a vote for me is a vote for me. That will put me in the parliament.
Many of the so-called teal independents campaigning in the Liberal Party's blue ribbon city seats argue a vote for the Liberals is a vote for Barnaby Joyce. The Nationals leader rejects such logic.
That's as deceitful as the other things they say, because it quite clearly is not a vote for the National Party. And what they're doing is they're decapitating the moderate section of the Liberal Party, and their fruits of their labour will be ashes in their mouth. Because if you believe that independents are right, let's have 151 of them. Total chaos. Let's have a ballot every day for who the Prime Minister is going to be, another ballot for who the Treasurer is going to be.
If the Nats can hold Nichols, the party expects to retain all of its 16 lower house seats. The party even dares to dream about picking up seats in the Northern Territory and here in the New South Wales Hunter Valley, where the leader has taken his personal campaign.
So which is best, 2-year-olds or Parliament? It's a bit of a toss-up, isn't it?
I enjoy the kids more.
Yeah.
Because they've got a reason to be childish.
Yeah, that's right.
Under Barnaby Joyce, the Nationals are yet to lose a seat at a federal election. But any electoral setback this time will only fuel talk within the party about a potential leadership change.
The big challenge for the Nationals when we finish this election and the dust settles and we go into choose our leader going forward, whether in government or opposition, is we need to find a way to unite the party room.
Is your party room, your federal parliamentary party room, united?
Absolutely, because if we have to work together, we bargain together, we get the deal together, we've delivered for Australia together.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.